We're back now with Governor Ned Lamont. Thank you again for being with us. We appreciate your time. You know, it's a very exciting time for Connecticut when you hear your speech. There are still some challenges, though, right? Like, look at Lego, the announcement there. That had to be a disappointment for you.
It was tough. I mean, Lego's been with our state for, 30-plus years. But the good news is we have 100,000 jobs that are going unfilled right now. We have a lot of folks taking a second look at Connecticut, thinking about expanding in Connecticut, wanting to grow in Connecticut. But not everything is a straight line. And Lego moving to Boston will make up the difference.
And one of those recruitment tools, correct me if I'm wrong, in getting people here is helping them buy their first home, right? Which can be very, very challenging, of course, for people here in Connecticut when you look at the housing costs, especially after COVID.
So we've made the biggest commitment to expanding housing in the history of the state. It's one thing to have a workforce and training. If there's no place for young people to live, it's not going to work. And I believe in ownership. You know, the idea of able to build wealth, nothing like owning your own home. And we're making that a little easier for middle-class, lower-middle-class folks. You've got to save up for some of your down payment. We'll help you with the rest of it. And
I think the example you used was almost if you save $15,000, the state will help you with $15,000 in a forgivable loan?
That's right. You got to stay there for 5 years, and over 5 years, it'll be a forgivable loan. You have a stake in your community. Hopefully, real estate prices keep going up. You're building some value.
Teachers, I want to talk about that because obviously they are the backbone of really Connecticut, of kids everywhere. And as we're adults, we all remember our teachers from when we were kids. How do you go about recruiting more teachers and getting them to come to Connecticut? We have done so many stories lately from Hartford to New Haven where they're almost going out of state and other locations to try and recruit people here.
We have the best schools in the world because we have the best teachers in the world right in the classroom. That's where it makes a difference. A, you got to respect your teachers, let them teach. B, I'm trying to give them more support. So I'm going to be paying, we put $10 million in to get more apprentice teachers. Those are the ones maybe at a third year of teacher college. Get out of the ivory tower, get in the classroom, help that master teacher, give a little more attention to those kids.
A big part of school, of course, is lunch, and this has been a big debate for some time now. Obviously, the federal government assisted with the school lunch program during and after COVID. That's changed here in Connecticut. This is Wednesday when we're doing this interview right now, right after your speech. They're going to vote tomorrow, right, on this. What do you anticipate happening there, and why is this so important?
I think they'll vote to continue free lunches, through the end of this academic year. You got to remember the federal government, in their wisdom, already provides free lunch for all the kids in need. But we were providing free lunch for everybody throughout COVID for a whole variety of reasons. One of which, Mark, is we want to get young people back into the classroom, get a little extra energy, a little extra nutrition, and it also saves mom and dad a little bit of cash they don't have to put out for their kids' lunch.
Was that the focus, you think, when you sat down and worked on the budget this year? Families, middle-class families, of course, I know you said this in your speech, but that overall, is that what you're focused on as you really begin and continue your second term?
Absolutely. I want this to be the most family-friendly state in the country. I want young families to say, Connecticut's a place I want to be. I want to keep them coming to a state like ours. That's why I want to make sure we continue to have the best education system in the world. That's why I want to have expanded daycare and childcare, make it easier for you to get back to work and make sure your kid gets the very best head start in life.
There are still elements, though, that are quite costly here, and we've just made it through one of the coldest snaps we've had in some time. Folks are going to be getting their electric bills from Eversource or UI. They've gone up quite a bit. What can be done? Can anything be done to help these people and to change that?
Yeah, we're providing a lot of short-term support right now in terms of federal support for those that can't afford their home heating bills. But more importantly, how can we bring down energy costs over time? We made a deal with Millstone, our nuclear power plant. That's below market, carbon-free forever, or at least for the next 10 years. That's going to be a big savings. And as I explained in our State of the Budget address, trying to bring down Quebec hydro to complement wind power so we control our own energy future, not have to rely upon overseas suppliers.
And the wind project off New London, right? What's the latest happening there?
That's less than 3 years away. It's going to be the biggest significant investment in wind power. I did it alongside Massachusetts and Rhode Island, so we got better pricing on that. And believe it or not, you go, offshore there, we have very strong, consistent winds. I mean, we're the Saudi Arabia of wind, believe it or not. So that's going to be a good complement to our nuclear power and our hydropower.
And potentially, you believe, could change the cost of living for folks here in Connecticut.
I think so. I mean, we get control over our energy resources. We can control that. We're trying to fix the price so you know what it's going to be not just this year, but 5 years out. That's important to small families. It's also important to businesses when they say, "What I want to move to Connecticut." Now I know they got the electricity.
Also, the bridge project down near Groton right now, that's a huge deal for the state, right? One of only a few to get money like that to do a project like that.
That was great. I mean, that was 4 states they awarded it to. I told Mayor Pete, boy, I'm really busy. I'm doing my State of the State that day. Can we do it another day? And he said, well, it is $160 million, Gov. I said, I'm there. Sign me up.
You can make it work.
And we made it work. And we're putting people to work. And, this is a bridge where big trucks had to go a 20-mile end around because it couldn't support it. This is the type of infrastructure work we got to do.
What other type of infrastructure work? I know the Metro North, getting to New York City and back, is a big deal and has been something you've talked about for a long time.
It is. I mean, we're going to be able to take 20 minutes off that commute, say from New Haven to Grand Central or even Penn Station now. You'll have 5G, high-speed internet there, so it is like a traveling office. We're going to have new rail cars on the Hartford line, so it is making a difference. The Waterbury-Bridgeport line, having more rail service there, has created a ton of new housing.
Do you see more people using it, especially with the Hartford line? Are the numbers increasing? Also, I'm curious about free busing, because there has been a conversation among some that should become permanent. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, when it comes to rail service and the bus service, anything I can do to get cars off the road, make it easier for you to get to the office or home at less cost is a big plus for us going forward. So expansion of rail is a big piece of what we got to do. Bus service, I've provided that at no cost really for the last 11 months. The feds won't let me do it for another year. They say I got to do an equity study. Well, I don't know what there is to study. We're making it free of charge to make it easier for that single mom to go get groceries or whatever it might be. But we're going to come up with a low-cost way to expand bus service.
Are you excited about the next few years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I think the state's got some wind to our back. I think people are rediscovering what makes Connecticut an incredibly special place. And, at my age, an opportunity to make a difference for a state I love, let's go for it.
What makes you most excited about your budget right now, about your proposal? What's the thing that you're most excited to see happen?
Opportunity.
Yeah.
I said it's about economic growth because we haven't added new jobs or population in 30 years. But really, it's opportunity. When I say I got 100,000 jobs we're having a hard time filling, that means nobody left behind. I've got to go to those folks who say, boy, that's not a job. Nobody in my family's ever had a job like that. I got a job for you right now. It's going to be good pay, and I'll provide the training for you. It lifts everybody up.
All right, Governor Lamont, thank you very much for joining us.
Nice
We
to see
appreciate
you.
your time. Good to see you as well. Thank you.